guys, welcome back to my channel, or if you're new here, hello, hi, I'm Jyotsna and this is Jyotsna's Bookscapades, where I make videos basically on books. And in today's video, I'm finally filming my Women's Prize prediction videos. As you know, I am an ardent follower of the Women's Prize, and even last year I've done this. It's really exciting, to be honest, okay, to be able to be here reading books by women and to be talking about them with you. I feel immensely happy, delighted, and I feel privileged as well. So let's tell you how this video is going to flow. Okay, so this video is kind of divided into two parts. The first part of the video is the ratings and rankings, not the rankings, actually the ratings that I gave a certain book, right? So we will go as per the order on the website, and I'll just tell you what I felt about the book, give you a mini review and whether you should read it or not. And the second half of the video is the actual predictions or the rankings, where I will tell you whether you should read the book or not. So let's start with the first part of the video right away. And the first book in the list is Great Circle by Maggie Shipstead. So I do have like a separate review video for this one, because last year when the booker was on, I had made like a separate video. So it's down in the description box below for you to check out. But in the sort of a mini review, I can tell you that this is a historical fiction, and it talks about like a fictional female character called Marianne Graves, and it's about her life. And we keep switching to this Hollywood actress who's planning to play Marianne Graves in in a biopic, and it's just like switching between the two storylines. Now, if you ask me, I did not like the modern day storyline. I thought it was not important. I thought it was extra, and a lot of things could have been done using the historical fiction storyline. Okay, maybe it was placed in order to add some drama to the whole situation, to make it more relatable to maybe the Gen Z, for example. But for me, I didn't like it at all. But the historical fiction part, like the story of Marianne Graves, who's actually kind of inspired by female aviators like Amelia Earhart, I felt like that was a very good storyline, and I really liked that part a lot. If they would have kind of removed the modern part of the story, I would say, like from the entire book, then we would have had less pages in the book, and it would have been a much more edited version of it. Okay, so the reason I gave this book somewhere between 3.7 stars to 4 stars, like I couldn't narrow down on a rating because I didn't like it, but I liked it at the same time. So it was between 3.7 and 4 stars for me, and these were the reasons why. The next book in the shortlist is The Island of Missing Trees by Elif Shafak. And let me tell you, for me, this is a total 5 stars. I absolutely loved this book. It is something that combines a lot of aspects of today's, I would say, how do I call it? Like today's issues, right? Including war, refugees, climate change, things like that. Everything included like in one small book. It's very interesting. It's read with two POVs, and there's also a fig tree telling you its story. Because you'll understand when you read the book why a fig tree is telling you its story. There's also, it's also set in present day London and in 1970s Cyprus, where the Greeks and the Turks are technically hating each other and things like that. So it's a package. The book is a package. I've spoken about this book before in my video, which is called 23 book recs for World Book Day. So again, I'm linking that down below. But I think this is a book that everybody should read, because Elif Shafak is a brilliant writer, and I'm glad this is the first book that I read of hers. The next book in the list is Sorrow and Bliss by Meg Mason. And contrary to popular belief, because I know some people hated this book, I know some people love this book, I really like this book a lot. What is the book about, right? It is about Martha, who has been diagnosed with a mental illness which is named X in the book, or a dash in the book. It's basically an unnamed mental illness because the author does not want you to know what she's been diagnosed with. but it is her story. It's about the story of how she's being taken care of. How do you make sure like someone with mental illness is going to therapy, is having their medicines and things like that. And it's something of a thought triggering book and a triggering book, like if you have had someone to take care of when it comes to mental health issues. Yes, it's a pretty triggering book, but it also like brings up a lot of thoughts in your brain, because it talks about the entire fact that there is someone in your family suffering from some form of issues, be it schizophrenia or psychosis. And how do you take care of such a person? Like, how do you ensure that this person is well treated and you are giving them the best care that is possible? And that is why I like this book, because it kind of gives you the perspective of not only what the patient has, and the patient in this case is Martha, but also what the people around think about her and think about her whole situation. And that's very interesting. If you ask me, I do recommend reading this book. If you do not like it like halfway through, then I think that you should not continue it, because it may seem triggering and negative at many points, and that's why many people don't like it. But if you think you want to read on because you cannot stop reading although it's negative, then yes, you will like the book at the end of it. The next book is The Bread the Devil Need by Lisa Allen Augustini, and this is a book based in Trinidad and Tobago, or Tobago, I don't know how to pronounce it. Basically, this is a very, very how the One Armed Sister Sweeps the Floor-esque book. And when I say that because last year also there was a Caribbean book that was shortlisted, and that was this one that, like I just stated. But this is somewhat of a different nature. Like, the theme is the same, but the way the book transpires is totally different. Again, there's domestic abuse. So we have Alethea, who is a victim of domestic abuse, and she still stays with her live-in partner Leo, who is actually a musician and also a drunkard and things like that. And she also runs a successful shop. Like, it's not her own business, but she's a store manager for a garment shop basically. And yeah, she's just living a life that she does not like because of her childhood trauma. She's been abused when she was a child, and it is her story. I really like this book a lot, and I ended up giving this 4.5 stars because I liked the way it ended. I think the end was one of my favorite things in the entire book, because there's a lot of negativity and a lot of triggering points in the book, but the way it ended was actually on a positive note. A lot of stuff that is being discussed in this particular book, that in the end it all turns out for the better. So I hope I encourage you to read this book. And the next book is The Sentence by Louis Ulrich. Now, this is the first book that I read out of the entire shortlist, like this year. I had already read Great Circle last year, so I didn't count that. I had to read the rest of them. So in this case, when it comes to Louis Ulrich's book, I think I would say that I like this a lot. Like, as compared to the other books, not much in retrospect, but I really, really like this book a lot. I ended up giving it 4.5 stars when I read it, because it talks about a Native American perspective in the US. It talks about Native American culture, and it talks about Tuki, who's in a bookstore and who's haunted by the ghost of Flora, who's one of the most, I would say, irritating or who was one of the most irritating customers of the bookstore. And this bookstore is an Indian American bookstore, like a Native American bookstore basically. So it's pretty interesting to see how the whole Native American culture transpires and gets mixed with like modern day America. And I liked the book a lot. It also touches on a lot of aspects that happened in 2020, which is interesting because this book was released in 2020, I believe, and it covers a lot of aspects about Tuki, her husband, and things like that. Now, to be honest, I don't have I don't have like a, what do you call it, a tunnel or like a bucket to put this book in, because this book kind of is just contemporary or literary fiction, but it's not something that everybody would like. It's not something that is meant for everybody. Like, if you've not read literary fiction and love contemporary fiction in your life, then you're going to be very bored throughout the book. I think this one is for experienced readers. And again, I really love the way Louise Erdrich writes. Her writing is actually brilliant. It's beautiful, and I also like the subject matter a lot. And the next book is, and this is the last book in the shortlist, and that is the Book of Form and Emptiness. The Book of Form and Emptiness by Ruth Ezeki. Idea of this book. The book sucked for me. Basically, I did give the book its own chance. The book talks about a boy with who's been diagnosed with psychosis, and he has like a lot of these hallucinations, extreme hallucinations, and even all the hallucinations are being described in detail, and it's interesting to read them. But even at 44%, when you're just dwelling into like the hallucinations and things like that, I had enough of it. Like, it just seemed rhetorical to me at that point of time, because you are at 44%, approaching 50% of the book, but you've still not gotten to the point of what the book is about. You're just talking about this boy's hallucinations and all the crazy things that he does. But yeah, crazy book. I didn't like it. But then the thing is, again, I've heard extreme opinions, because some people loved it, some people liked it. But at the end of the day, I think many people liked it, and I might be a part of the minority. So yeah, let's see how that transpires, because you know which book is going to be at the bottom of my predictions list. So yes, this is the part of the video where I start with my predictions. I love doing my predictions, okay, because last time whatever I predicted, it came out to be true, okay. So this time also I'm hoping that my predictions come true, and I think they will. Like, not to be overconfident, but I know which book is going to be the winner out of the list, and I hope the judges decide the same, because the women's prize is somewhere where we have sane judges, unlike the Booker. That's just a joke. Please don't consider it seriously. But yeah, the Women's Prize listens to me, and I know the vibe of the Women's Prize. So let's get on with my sixth book. My sixth book is the least likely to win book, and for me, that has to be the book that I DNF'd, right? That I DNF'd, and that is Ruth Ozeki's The Form, or the Book of Form and Emptiness. I didn't like this book. I didn't finish it, and that's why it's on 6th. I hope the judges don't select this as well. Now, the reason why this is on 6th is because I have read the others so that I can rank them, but this one I have not finished it like completely, right? I have not gone ahead and I would say made an effort to understand the book completely, maybe. So that's why I'm putting this at 6th, because I don't have any opinions about it per se. So the 5th book in this list for me is The Sentence by Louise Erdrich. Now, like I said, when I read this, because this was the first book that I had read when the long list had come out, and I just felt like this was one of the best books out there. But having read the entire shortlist, I believe that the chances of this book winning have kind of reduced because of a lot of things, because other books have like better subject matter than this one, although this one has like a very interesting context and a background, and I really love Louise Erdrich. I just feel that this book has less chances of winning at this point of time, and that's why it's at a 5. Talking about the 4th book in the list, so if anything that is like 6, 5, 4 is generally least likely to win books. So the 4th least likely to win book is The Bread the Devil Knead by Elisa Allen Agostini. Now, I do feel that this particular book is a very nice book and it should be read, but there are again better and more relevant books. Although relevant may not be like the correct word, but there are times when it feels like the book is just too easy. There are times when it feels like the book is not actually prize material, if I may. Although it's a good book, it's a very good book and you should read it. I feel like the other books in the top 3 were like well written and much better as compared to this particular read. Now, that being said, again, I'm just talking about from a perspective of the women's prize, because every prize has its own theme and its own way of judging things, and I feel that when it comes to the own theme, own way of judging things, this book just fits at the 4th position and not in the top 3. And now, yes, we get to our top 3, and this is very exciting. So my 3rd book in this list, that is my 3rd most likely to win book, is Sorrow and Bliss by Meg Mason. And The reason I put it in there is because the book has a good perspective on mental health, taking care of mental health patients. And one of the most common themes, I would say, of book prizes these days, especially the women's prize this year, is mental health. Like if you even look at Ruth Ozeki's book, it's about mental health. Even if you look at Lisa Allen Augustini's book, it's about mental health. If you even look at the sentence, even that covers a lot about mental health. And I don't know, like maybe this is just like a jargon or a term that I'm overusing, but it just feels like there's a lot of emphasis on one's mental state in a form of a professional format when it comes to these books. Okay, and I think Sorrow and Bliss does it much better as compared to the other books. Like much better than Ruth Ozeki's as well, because it kind of portrays a picture of what it is to be, around a mental health patient or like someone who's suffering from mental illness. I do recommend this book. Again, I do recommend it book. Like I said, if you've read like 50% of it and you feel it's negative, then don't go ahead, just DNF it. But if you think you want to keep reading, I think it's a book that you should read. It's an important book as well, and I really liked it a lot. So yeah, it's at its third place. And the second book in this particular list is a book that I did not like much, but I still wanted to see it here, and that is Great Circle by Maggie Shipstead. I know what are you telling me? And I think that the reason why this book is at like my second place is because it's about women, for the women, by the women. Like, do you get my point? Because this book is about two women. It's about Holly Baxter, who's the Hollywood actress, who's in the present day timeline, and it's about Marianne Graves, who's a female aviator in the 1930s or so. It's pretty interesting. I think this book has a lot of potential to win, especially when it comes to a Western jury. It is a pretty interesting book for sure in my mind. Um, but yeah, I mean, I have my own personal thoughts regarding it. But it's a potential contender because of the whole theme that it's set around, the whole feminist aspect of it. There are a lot of aspects in the book where Marianne Graves is like, I was like, wow, Marianne Graves is awesome. Oh my God, Marianne Graves, it's lovely. Yeah, I didn't like Holly Baxter much. I mean, like I said, I didn't like the present day story time at all. Storyline at all. But yeah, like you get my point. This book has an immense potential because it's for the women, by the women, and with the women in it. The whole story is driven by these two women characters, be it in the present day, in the 21st century, or be it in, I would say, 19th century, 18th century, 19th century. So, yeah, I hope that makes sense. I hope that convinces you. But again, my personal thoughts aside, this book is actually a pretty good contender. That being said, this is a no-brainer. I already told you what my like full 5 stars of the book is, and that is The Island of Missing Trees by Elif Shafak. I'm telling you, this book is going to win. Okay, I'm hoping this book to win. This book is going to win because it's the best out of the lot. Now, I don't know who doesn't agree with me, but everyone would agree that this book is the best out of the entire shortlist by a huge margin. It talks about a lot of things, like considering, we had the Russia-Ukraine situation recently, considering that we've had a lot of refugee situations recently. This talks about a war. This talks about a war. This talks about an invasion. It talks about displaced people. It talks about forbidden love. It talks about trauma, grief, loss of people, anything to do with that. And more importantly, it also talks about trees. That's very pertinent with climate change. This book is an all-in-one package, a total, like I would say, 5 stars. And I think this will win. Like I'm telling you, one of the top 3 books in this list will win for sure. But I want this one to win the most. Like I'm praying to God that Elif Shafak wins the Women's Prize because this book is that brilliant. That being said, thank you so much for watching the video till the very end. The Women's Prize is going to be announced on 15th of June, and this video is going to be posted before that, of course. And thank you so much for watching. Let me know what are your predictions and what are your like listings, I would love to know that for sure. Thank you so much for watching. Bye.